All right, well, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. My name is Amy Hoag. I'm the Director of Communications for the Goodman Community Center. And I want to thank you all for tuning in on this balmy evening as our CEO, Letesha, talks about her vision for Goodman's future. Tonight, Letesha is joined by our board member, Dulce. Before I hand it over to them, I do want to encourage anyone on the call to participate in the conversation. You can submit questions or comments through the question feature on Zoom or in the chat box on Facebook. I know Letesha and Dulce would love to hear from you and answer any questions you may have. So, all right, Letesha and Dulce, are you ready?
Yes, we're ready.
All right, take it away, ladies.
Okay, thank you for joining us tonight. This is fun. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to hand over the reins to Dulce to lead some of the conversation.
What do you mean, unfortunately?
Okay, because you know I love to talk, Dulce.
But so, I love to talk too. And this is why this is going to be such a fun community chat.
Yes, tonight it's going to be great, us talking about where Goodman has been a little bit, where we are right in this present moment, and then some of the vision for our future, which we're so excited about. I actually recently got a chance to share some of those ideas with our board in April, and just having that kind of support helps me know that I am going in the right direction and I am thinking about the right things as it pertains to Goodman. So, yay. Okay, take it away, Dulce.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. As Amy said, please feel free to drop any questions that you have in the chat. We're happy to have this conversation to include the community. That is what a community chat is for. I will give a very quick introduction about myself. My name is Dulce Danel. I am on the board at Goodman, a very proud board member. I also chair our development committee. And to be honest with you, a community chat is what led me to Goodman, and it involved Letesha sitting down, talking about her vision, what makes her really excited about Goodman. And I would say I was a reluctant board member in the sense that I was like, board, like that seemed like a lot, but Letesha came in and you did an amazing job explaining it, making me even more excited about the center. So I'm really excited to get the community behind what we're doing, all of the updates. So I know you said you were handing over the reins to me, but what would you like to start talking about tonight? Because we got a lot.
Oh, it's a lot on this list. But I think let's talk about three things that are near and dear to my heart. Let's talk about family engagement. Let's talk about college, career, and community readiness for our youth. And then let's also talk about what we're going to be doing with just our commitment around DEI and all of the work with belonging and accessibility for our community members as a whole. And that is a lot. And just let's be cognizant that we are not going to be able to cover everything in 1 hour, but I do want you to take away a lot of pieces that are important for Goodman and that we are as an organization very committed to. And how we're going to be pulling these pieces together along with partnerships and other community members to help us make sure that this work gets done.
Yeah, of course. I mean, honestly, Letesha, I think if we wanted to spend the amount of time that is required on these three subjects, Amy would kick us off Facebook because we'd spend 4 hours here and we would probably, I don't know, can we even go on a 4-hour live? I'm not sure. But I think family engagement is a really great place to start. Goodman does so much with family engagement and support, and they're very important to the work that we do here at Goodman. So can you tell us a little bit about what Goodman is doing now and how you plan to build on that work in the future?
Yes, so we were fortunate enough to first of all have staff in the building that were doing family engagement work in very unique ways already. Last year, we were able to get the $1.4 million through the Beyond the Classroom grant, which has been awesome because it allowed us to then take my idea that family engagement is more than us putting on a one-time event once a month for our families to get together, but it's more about how do we also bring services to those families in the ways that they all need. And it's not all the same, right? So being more equitable about how we bring those services to our families on a day-to-day basis. And so the Beyond the Classroom grant allowed us to be able to bring in specialized folks around that type of work. we were able to hire a community engagement person, Chantry Salas, who has come and she has just jumped in all feet, all hands, to bring her community contacts to us, but to also open doors for families to have some different things that they hadn't had before. So we're going to be having, launching our clothing closet, which we've never had. That is going to be a career closet for not only our youth, but community members who are looking for jobs or want to interview and things like that. And she started that. She's also been leading our FAST program, which is families and schools together. And that program actually brings families in one space as a cohort and teaches those families how to work together and be a little more immersed in each other's world. So a child into a parent's and a parent's into a child's. And learning through play is a really big part and component of that. But it also brings a group of 5 adults that are parents and community members and staff members that support those families so that that cohort stays very strong and can get things answered and addressed really, really quickly so that they know how to work with their children when they go home. So that's been really helpful. The other thing is we've always had Arthur Morgan here at our organization. He's been here for 30 years. And if you want to know some amazing stories about how he engages families, just call, he'll tell you a story if something probably happened today. But as I look at the work that he's done over the years, what I found is being a parent myself who's always needed like community help or community support, it was probably more important for me when my children were, when I wasn't having that great connection with the schools or other places that could help support me as a single mom. Now, all of our parents are not single families, but they still need that support with the school system and other organizations within our community to get their needs met. And Arthur is that person. He has been very instrumental in bringing a sense of it's okay to everyday life with our families, that they can just get him on the phone and say, this is going on with my son, or this is going on with my daughter, or this is going on with the principal at the school, and I don't really know how to address that. He is that conduit between whether my child is actually gonna go to school today because something's going on up there, or my child may not even come home because something is going on there. And so he takes it upon himself. He does make regular calls to our students to make sure they even made it to school. Now, how many kids get that in the morning, right? Did he make
Honestly,
it?
Yeah.
Did he make it? And if he doesn't make it, then he's going to take the extra mile or the extra step to figure out why, and then how Goodman can support that family in making sure that child gets to school, or help that parent be able to go to school and create that partnership with the principal and or the teacher. And he's doing that all the time. So I said a trifecta because that family engagement is 3 whole pieces. So we got that community engagement that's happening. We have those partnerships within the schools and us as a liaison. But then that third piece is eventually, I would love for us to have a social worker right here on site. As we've all seen, COVID has made it that much harder for folks to actually reach out and say, I need help. People are feeling isolated. People are feeling ignored or forgotten. And what I've seen in the year that I've been here is that our staff, while they play a case manager in a lot of ways, they do a lot of that case management work. They're not case managers. They are everyday people who love people. And so if we had a social worker on site to help with that case management aspect, so that it is legal, so that it is things that we can't reach out and do because we're stepping over a boundary, we would have a social worker here to do that. But it also would provide a space where parents that are having those issues could actually come in and sit and actually talk it through with someone who understands, who has those connections within the community to know and resources to send them somewhere else. And so family engagement for me is all about those 3 things wrapped up in a little bow so that no one has to go without the services that they need, and everybody can feel like they are just as important as the next person, whether they have money or not, whether they've lived without resources or not. And, I think Goodman is that, and I tell people this all the time, that it's that beacon that if I go there, I'm going to get my needs met. Even if they don't have it, they're going to find it. So,
and I think you just said that right now. And I like how you called it a little bow. It is a very big bow.
It's a big bow.
A beautiful bow that makes me so excited. But Goodman has been doing this work, like you said, consistently. But I think over this last year, there's really been that formalization of it to do it intentionally, because every single person at the center, whether that's when you're being welcomed, when you come in, are a beacon of knowledge that can almost, triage when we hear problems, when they hear what's going on with the students. So having Chantrice and Arthur doing all of this work so intentionally is such incredible movement for the center.
It really is. And it just speaks volumes about who Goodman is inside, because a lot of people see our outside and they've heard the story. It just accentuates all of that and more. And it just makes me happy to be here, because I know that the people that are in this building doing this work, walking alongside me doing this work, is very much about community. It's all about community for us.
Yeah, and I'll take that, to say a quick mention. If you've never visited Goodman, you're curious about it, curious about our programming, look at our beautiful new website that's just been updated recently. Come through to the center. I love giving tours. I can probably start giving like a little bit more. I'm just volunteering to do everything apparently today, but that's my part there.
We're going to take you up on that one.
Listen, I used to kind of like pseudo work as a tour guide for some point. I might as well like keep it going, right? Get my steps in. And with this beautiful weather that we have coming up and the amazing like access we have at Goodman, like come check out, the areas where our children are playing, like the different space. If you're interested in hosting a wedding, we have beautiful spaces. Those are my
talk it up,
right
don't say.
We also just hosted a beautiful community pop-up dinner. So keep an eye out for those. That was a very exciting thing that happened recently, at least for me at Goodman.
Yes.
But anything else you would like to share about family engagement? You talked a little bit about the FAST program, and we don't want to go too fast on it. So anything more you want to share on it?
I would say that FAST is our way to engage families so that they are not only connected to schools, but they really gain some tools and knowledge around how to have relationship at home. It's so needed, right? Like we have our children and we try to work with them the best we can, but stressors come. We got to go to work. We're not spending as much time on the weekends with them because we might be working 2 jobs, or the job we have is so stressed that we're working long hours, and then we come home and we don't have. So it's about creating a space to have that time of engagement, but then also learning about each other as we do that. And we're actually working with our younger group of students over in our Ironworks building right now. We have about 7 or 8 families that are participating. And our hope is that after we've done this pilot with that group, that we would extend that to not only our older children over there, but also our middle schoolers and high schoolers, and figuring out how we can bring FAST in a cohort with those older students, because some of them, some of them are actually part of families that have younger ones over there. So in some way, FAST is going to touch all of Goodman. We used to have it at Goodman a long time ago. And the one thing that I would say is that the founder of FAST, Lynn McDonald, is still here in Madison, very much a part of going and talking up FAST. And she's starting to be a very good friend of mine. Her and I have tea and coffee together on a regular basis, but her heart was really around researching how she can help families build relationship. And that has been very helpful for not only our programming, but also it will be helpful for those children and their families as they go back into the school system next year too. So and if you know people who want to either start FAST programming or be a part of one of our FAST as one of the trainers of FAST, we have room for those folks to come and help us too. So yeah, we're excited. We're so excited about it. It actually started, the very first FAST program in Madison started right around the corner at Lowell Elementary.
Really? I didn't know
many
that.
years ago. Yes, many years ago. And our own Dwayne Powell, who is over all of our finance, he's our
Yep.
senior director of business. He was actually in that very first program that they had.
Isn't that's
crazy,
such an
right?
amazing story about Goodman with Dwayne, and I'm sharing the story out here, but to go from Goodman participant at such a young age and now to be part of leadership at Goodman, I think that shows just one, how close Goodman can stay to one's heart, but just the passion behind the people working here.
Yeah. And if you want to know more about FAST, if you look in the comments, Amy put it in there that you can go to www.familiesinschools.org and you can learn all about it, but it is an amazing program. And I'm hoping it'll grow like it once was here in Madison. I'm hoping that it'll grow more here in Madison like it used to be.
Yeah, well, I'm happy we're bringing it back up and getting all of that
back.
started. Yeah, so I love talking about family engagement. I can talk about that for a very long time. You know, that's very near to my heart, but shout out to Chantrice and Arthur, who have been doing an amazing job really highlighting their work there. But if you're ready, I know we want to hit 3 topics today.
Yes.
What do you want to talk about next?
Let's talk about our DEI journey. Oh my goodness, Dulce, that hasn't been an easy journey.
No.
No. For so many reasons, right? Like, I know that they were probably doing work here before I came, but to come into an organization where I think as I came in, I wasn't thinking this would be a path that I would have to go down or even lead in the way that I feel like I need to lead it. But it has been an amazing journey, not only to hear where people have come from and learning about them, but trying to figure out what Goodman is committed to in this community, what it means to them to serve, or to us to serve all walks of life and all people, whether they're LGBTQ or whether they are African American or Hispanic, whether there are barriers around language or culture. I think that it is important for us to be a place that accepts and supports all people. And so that journey has been, while hard, and knowing that it is not going to be one that will stop today, like you don't learn all of the things, right? And then stop doing them. You have to learn them and then continue to build on them so that you're always better, always thinking about the next right thing that you can do to the next person. And so that journey it's been one. It's been one. Yeah, it's been one.
But it's been such a fruitful journey, like you said, and work that is so at the core of who we are and what we're doing. And I'm just thinking about the role as a reminder, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and just the different things. We were talking about language barriers, right? And you mentioned that. And I think so much about little things that Goodman has done that just makes it more welcoming and accessible. I'm thinking about like our food pantry, which now has the name of items in different languages. And as a Spanish speaker, like, I can't tell you how cool it is to me and just how proud I am that if you speak Spanish and you maybe don't know what the word for something is in English, like, it's just so incredible for me to be like, you can walk in there, the names are on there, you can feel that sense of belonging just in those spaces. So it's about the little things that we're doing to this long journey, right?
Yes, yes.
So can you talk a little bit about the work that we've been doing this last year?
Oh yeah. So we have taken our staff through many trainings at every level. And we are continuing to do that because we think that it is important for us to have some common language and some common places that we can meet each other, that we are on the same wavelength. And so we've been doing a lot of intensive work around that. We've introduced a book, Me and White Supremacy, to not only the leadership team here at the organization, but also our board. And the leadership team here has gone through a series around Me and White Supremacy to actually do all about self-reflection. It's not to hear the words me and white supremacy is to some people a lot, right? But for us, while it may have been a lot for some, they knew that our facilitator reminded us that it was a personal journey and everybody was coming in onto the road at a different place. And that we needed to, first of all, respect each other at the place that they're coming on the road, but then we go down that road together. And we're not always going to end up in the same place when we go off to our different places, but we have some common spaces that we've been able to have conversation. And some of the conversation was heavy. We talked about how we were going to utilize what we had learned in Goodman. And then places where we've seen things that were not right in Goodman, how we were going to address those things as well. One of the things that I'm excited about, though, is that out of this work comes a sense of we need a vision statement around diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, and people feeling like they belong here. And so we are working very hard on doing some focus groups with not only our youngest ones, but our high school and middle schoolers. We are working to try to pull together something for our older adults so that they can have their voice heard. And then there'll be a couple of focus groups that we do community-wide that ask some very key questions around what do they want to see Goodman do? And how do they want to feel when they walk in? What does it look like to be here and be an inclusive organization from each area or standpoint? And so that we can create this vision statement and really be committed to it. Not just say words, but really they can see it being active every single time that they come into Goodman. So I'm really excited about the work. And again, it's hard work, Dulce, but I think that the staff here are committed to doing it. I think they've been doing it in their own way anyway. And now to put a framework around it helps us move in the same direction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you said something really important there at the end. It's putting it to action, right? And I think everyone at Goodman knows that this work is not performative work. We're not just creating a statement to have a statement. We want to put it to action, and we want to be held accountable to making sure that all of that is something that you feel at Goodman. And you talked about that sense of belonging in there, right? Which is so crucial for every single person who walks into Goodman. So can you talk to us a little bit about when you say that you want people who come into Goodman, everyone who comes into Goodman to feel like they belong? What does that look like to you?
Oh, wow. It looks a lot. It looks like a lot of things, but I'll go, I have just a little short story. So I did have a conversation with our middle schoolers. They were the first focus group that I had. And they're such a funny group, but super honest. Like they're not going to bite their tongues about anything. And this is something that they hold very near and dear. And I know that part of that is because of the staff that are there, allowing them to have their voices and then talking them through the way that they're feeling. And I went into the room with them, and I'm just who I am. I try not to be this, this person that's, oh, you the CEO, so I can't talk to you. And so I really got on their level that day. And I remember asking the question about how they wanted to feel. And one young man said, you already make me feel like I belong here. Goodman is already a place where I know I belong. It's my second home. And I was trying to hold, I'm trying to hold back tears because
I was going to say,
but because of the depth of his response and his face and the way the other youth looked as he said that, I could see that they understood and they accepted what he said, and then they co-signed what he said because they felt the same way too. And it was just a moment for me to feel like, well, it's going right in certain areas, it's going right here, and then how do I get other spaces within Goodman to feel like I feel in this room with these youth right now? One of the youth said that he doesn't worry about if he hasn't eaten or if he needs something because he can come to Goodman and get it. And that there's no question. He said, there's no, just nonchalantly, there's no question that I can ask or that they'll do it for me. That's how Goodman makes me feel. This is my second home. And then one young lady, she kept saying that she wanted to make sure that people who had never been here could come and see them in their space and feel what they feel in their space.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, talk to me about that. Well, it's warm. It's inviting. You know, we do have a voice here. We can speak how we're feeling. Someone talks us through if we're not having a good day. Like it's that sense of where if I come to this place, I can just take my shoes off and just be at home. You know, there's no question. There's only support. There's only love. Like, you know, do they chastise the young ones down there? Yes, they do, because the adult, they have to, right?
They have to. No, I mean, just
it takes a village. It takes a village, right? But for them to have the sense that they can come here and have the village, that's what I want other people to feel when they come. I want them to come and know that they have a place here, and whatever that place is, we're going to support it. We're going to lift it up and let a light shine on it, because it's just that your place is just as important as my place. You know, what you're going through is just as important as me. My skin color is just as important as your skin color. My language is just as important as yours. And we need to lift them up because they're important, because we're people. And it's more about how we love and take care of one another. The other stuff is added, like it's an extra, right? But we got to love and take care of one another. And the only way we can do that is to make each other feel like we belong with one another.
You know, and you mentioned that right there, lifting up. I've had, especially this leading up to the community pop-up dinners, I've been lucky enough to get invited to go into the kitchens, to go work with our students, to do that, which I absolutely loved. I had the best time ever. And if you did not make it to our community pop-up dinner, which sold out, I hope you join us for our next one. But I really want to say that the amazing thing that I've been noticing, and I just think of like, man, I really wish I would have had this around this age, because what a difference it would have made, is how we are empowering our youth. Because it's not so much of, you know, we have our programming, we have that, but each staff in there is helping these young people feel empowered, feel that sense of belonging. And that's something that honestly is so unique to the different things that I've been experiencing at Goodman. And it's something that I'm so proud of that we're doing. And you talking about that feedback, Letesha, I did not think I would cry during a Facebook Live, but you know, I'm a little soft.
You always film every single day, because I know that belonging here is probably the top of the list for everybody who comes here. They don't say it. They don't say it, but you know it because of what they're asking, what they're saying, how they feel when they come in, and how they feel when they go out, and they keep coming back. And so I know we're doing a lot of things right to make people want to keep coming back here. If you didn't feel like you belonged here, you would not feel that way. But I know that we still have work to do. I don't want to be complacent in where we are right at this moment. I want to say that we need to continue to figure out how we make all groups of people, wherever they're coming from, feel like they belong at Goodman, because Goodman is open to everybody from all walks of life. And we want to make sure that we hear your voice, so that we know, oh, I need to tweak this, or I need to add this because this would help this family, or this would help this person, so that you keep coming back to Goodman. So you know this is home, you know, and that we love you here. So we still got work to do.
We still have work to do, but you know, that's the excitement of being able to do the work and adjusting to meet the needs of our community, right? Because you just said it right there. Community needs are going to change. What is needed at any, I mean, if we learned anything through the shifts that we had to make through COVID, I was on our programming committee at the time. We adapt to what our community needs. And I'm very lucky, the flexibility that our staff has, the excitement that our staff has to meet those community needs and be able to flex around. I mean, somebody in the comments mentioned living 2 blocks away and being able to walk into this like amazing center and doing that and having the opportunity. It's just, I'm very excited where all this DEI work goes, because like you said, it's hard. it's not easy work to like adjust to, and sometimes it's
Mhm.
really hard to listen to, but we're getting there and we're continuously doing the efforts to get a little bit better every day. So
Mhm.
on that, can you talk a little bit about, you mentioned before that the staff is receiving DEI trainings. Have you
Mhm.
gotten any feedback? How is that going?
I've gotten some feedback. I think they're glad that we're doing it, but we've always had an internal team of folks who have rallied around the DEI message and work that it takes to do that. We have a team internally called the IDEA team. We also have a team that we created that is also an outside/inside equity group that brings board members and community members, but also staff together to actually do the work too, because we need to do it on all fronts at all spaces. But I would say that the staff, I think, are open to walk that walk personally and as a community within Goodman. And I haven't had any bad feedback. I would love to have more community input on if there's needs that they don't see that Goodman needs to provide them around DEI work as well, because it'll just make us stronger. And then it also will help us direct our services and our efforts to not only our internal staff, but also those that come in from the greater community too. So yeah, staff are open. They're ready. They're ready. They're primed and ready. And it's great because I have probably the best staff in the world. All of them coming from very different spaces and experiences. They bring a lot to the table. And it is some days it's just overwhelming. I'm overwhelmed because it's so much expertise within the two of these buildings. But there's also such a commitment to making sure that people feel like this is their place and that they have a voice. Advocacy is alive and well at Goodman, okay? And they really want to be, we want to be, not only the staff, but the organization wants to be a place of not only refuge, but also a place of advocacy and making sure that we're shining the light on the things that mean something in our community outside of the building, but also within the building as well. So
yeah, and just again, we are talking about DEI work, diversity, equity, inclusion, and even more so, Goodman, we're very committed to that sense of belonging that comes with that work and that accessibility that comes with that work. And you quickly mentioned talking about, community members, but do you plan on expanding these offerings to include volunteers and community members?
I'm hoping so. I was gonna say when we were just talking about just the belonging part of it, part of us being better at helping people to feel like they belong is for people to share with us who they are.
Yeah.
Share with us where they come from. Everybody's story is so important. And I think the better we are at listening to stories, the better we're going to be at making sure that people feel like they belong here. Because again, like I said, all of us are important, but your stories are just these threads of life that you no one can take them away from you. But when you share them, it extends the life of that thread, right? You're able to say, oh, I talked to so-and-so today, and she told me a story about this that may connect to a situation or another person or something that's going on, and that you never know how it helps. And then that person actually extends your story because it comes up in another way. So share your stories with us. Come talk to us about, where you've come from and how we can make you feel like you belong here. But also when you share that story, then we are already going to be thinking, oh man, there's probably more people who need this because this person shared their story. Vulnerability, I think a lot of people hate to show their vulnerability. I'm not one of those people, if you've seen other conversations. But what I will say is that we are in a time that because of COVID and isolation and not feeling like we've been seen and or heard. I think people may be a little afraid to be vulnerable in saying, this is what I need, or this is how I feel. But Goodman is a place where we welcome that. And I think that in today's world, we have to be more open, and we need to be more honest about how we're feeling. And if people have wronged you, or it's okay to say, you know what, no, that's not who I am, or this is how I feel about that, or I see this in Goodman and that offends me because of this. Like, it's nothing wrong with you speaking up and being vulnerable enough to speak up. And I think that's where amplifying our voices is going to be very important as we go down this road together. I know we're not the only community center that is lifting up people and trying to help them feel like they belong. We're one of a lot of places here, but I will say that the commitment to the work has never been stronger in any place that I've ever worked. And so I'm excited about where we're going to go with it. Honestly,
you sharing about your vulnerability and everything that you mentioned there, I talked about it at the beginning. I wouldn't be here without talking to you and learning about everything that Goodman does. I've been involved as a volunteer before, but the path and the steps that have been taking this last year, it's crazy to think. It's finally warm weather now, but the first time I sat outside with you, we were lucky enough to be sitting outside last year. And we've come, like, again, a huge year for Goodman, amazing steps taken in here. And I think this diversity, equity, inclusion work and the sense of belonging that's so important to Goodman it's crucial to our mission. It's crucial to what we do. And I'm really excited to see the rest of the work come through. Because
and I see that there's a little comment in there from Facebook. Howard Hayes said, as a staff member, our DEI work has become a part of the beautiful struggle. And I echo that it is true. You know, it doesn't stop. It's exciting, but then there's pressure. But then something great comes out of it. And I see it every day here. So thank you for that, Howard.
Thank you, Howard. Well, anything to add about this topic before we continue on?
No, if you have, well, I will say that if folks have ideas about people we can talk to around DEI, good presenters who would be willing to come in and do some work with us, please contact us, because again, we can't do all the work on our own, and it would be good to have others from the community to join us.
Yeah, and community input, right? So again, if you have
lots
a
of
question, if you have a question, drop it in the chat. If you have a comment that you want to make, you're just tuning in at the beginning. I don't know how it happened, but I volunteered to give tours. I don't know why I'm mentioning it again. I'm really gonna get my steps in, but we are very willing and would love to be showcasing even more of what we're doing just outside of this community chat. The conversation doesn't stop here, right?
That's right.
It's just streamed online, Facebook Live, other than that.
And they're going to keep playing this over and over. So you're going to, it's going to be.
Oh my goodness.
Good.
Yeah.
It's good.
So let's talk about my favorite thing.
What?
College career and community readiness.
Yes. So everybody knows college and career readiness. Everybody's talking about that. High schools, middle schools, some elementary schools are also talking about it, but universities talk about it. Other organizations talk about how they can be in this realm. And as I thought about this and how we were going, because we do some work in this area, some really good work actually. But as I've come in the last year, the one thing that keeps cropping up for me as I look at the staff here and what they are producing out of these young people, they're producing a sense of self within each one of them. Like they're helping them figure out who they are as a person and whether they really want to go to college, what kind of career they may end up in. But more importantly, our staff is helping our youth figure out what community means. That's powerful. Like, I just get choked up about that. Because I grew up in a time where community was everything. And I had parents that were always on the grind trying to figure out the next community event, organization they needed to be a part of, or rally. I mean, that's the time I grew up in, and I didn't get it. But as I come in here and I watch the staff work with these youth, the college and career things are great and wonderful. And yes, they are needed, but they mean nothing if our youth do not understand this community is your community. And you have an obligation to make sure your community thrives, and that you take whatever your gift is and pour it back into the community that you're in, that the community that have served you. And so I see that every day. And so when I'm talking about college and career readiness, I've added the word community on there because I think that our staff empower our students to learn that if they want to go to college, there is an option. Let's figure that out. If you want to have a career, let you dabble in a couple of places to see kind of what your interests are, and let's figure that out.
Yep.
But regardless of whether you do either one of those things, let's figure out how your voice and how your action will be used within this community that has served you. How are you now going to serve it? And that comes in so many different ways. And so our college, career, and community readiness is what all of our students are learning from the time that they're 3 when they come in the door, all the way up until they graduate high school. And our programs all transition our students to the next stage of life. So you come from Ironworks, where you're a 3-year-old, to graduating out of the 5th grade program there, and then into our middle school program over here. There's several different options that you can have while you're in middle school to learn and grow. Lots of enrichment going on so that you can kind of figure out, is that me? Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Is that me? And so our staff are really good about providing those experiential activities so that they can figure out who they are. And not making them feel like they have to be in a box because somebody told them to. And then they go from there to, okay, I'm going to high school. So how serious do I need to get? And how ready do I need to get to be in high school and graduate high school? One of the things that I will say is, with all of that, one of the places that I've felt like over the last year that I've seen probably is a place for us to really work on, and our staff is all over it, like honing in on this area, is the thought that we have maybe 3 to 5 students that would graduate high school, and we let them work in the program up into a certain time, and then they would have to possibly exit the program, even though we still carry them, even though we still support them. And so my hope is that we create this box, or this, not even a box, this area of space where we can continue to nurture and help them grow between the ages of 18 and 21. There's so much for us to do there. We do little things there now to make sure that students don't feel like, oh, I'm done with high school, so I can't go to Goodman anymore. No, we figure out spots. But to have a real program that actually makes a student feel like, okay, they say I'm a grown-up, but Goodman says that I'm a young adult that still needs support. That's a different language, right? Yeah. When you say, oh, baby, you grown, you got to get a job. That's one thing. But when you say, you know what, sweetie, you're a young adult and you still need support, and Goodman is going to be here, and this is what it looks like. That's where I want to go, Dulce. because I remember being that 18-year-old.
Yeah.
And I might have been going to college, but I still was a little confused about what does all of this mean? And why don't you want me at home? And if you do want me at home, you want me in this capacity possibly, but I still need support for my emotions, for my day-to-day, to learn how to love and serve my community. I still need those things.
Absolutely.
Until I'm feeling strong enough and got my legs under me that I can say, okay, Goodman, I got it now. That's going to allow our students to be able to say, I got to this point, I'm strong enough. Now I can give back to somebody else who's not.
Exactly. And it's you mentioned that, and that's like really near to my heart, because I like look back at all the people that mentored me through college, right? Through that 18 to 21-year-olds who were taking me out to dinner to talk about what's going on, doing that. And now to give back, I do that to like my students who I've worked with. Like my rule is always like, you can pay for the food when you graduate. Like for now, it's on me. We're going to talk about how you're doing that, because I had people do that for me.
That's
and
right.
I think about how lucky I was. So for the center to formalize this, to know that our 18 through 21-year-olds, in age, sure, grown, but we still need that support. We still need to get through all of that process. So that's really exciting that, we're getting to this area where we want to support our youth beyond.
Oh yeah. I know that Danny Luckett is on here. She's our Chief Development Officer. And did you hear that, Danny? Young adults that still need support. That's the tag right there, because that's what it is. They need us, and they still need love too. So I'm telling you,
and it's okay.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Yes. One thing that my dad used to say to us girls all the time, because he had a lot of girls, he would always say, be a kid as long as you can.
Exactly.
Be a kid as long as you can. And then when you're in that space, be the kid. Like you don't have to grow up so fast that you miss out on the fun of being 11 or 15, because it is stressful too. But there is fun in it too if you just allow yourself to be 15. And so I find myself telling my granddaughter, who's now 11, she said, what do you want me to do, Grandma? I said, just be 11, Shavea. Just be 11. Just learn how to be 11, honey. You don't have to be in a hurry to do anything. So that by the time you're 18 or 21, you would have had, there's fun in every age that I am. And as long as I have the support behind me, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be all right.
And that's the support that we can provide, because one, you said it before, like you need support, but I think the second part of that too is we want to support you.
Yes.
You need the support. We want to support you. It's okay to ask for support, and everybody is coming, like you said this before, everyone has a different story. Everybody has different things in their background. We know, firsthand, some people need to go straight into the workforce because of things at home, different things that are going on. So to still be, and I say like this because it's right behind me, to still be that resource where our students can come back, our young people can come back and know that you're going to be supported there. I mean, Letesha, that's just,
it's amazing, right?
The words. I don't know how to put it into words. And I can talk a lot.
Can you imagine having this kind of work happen at Goodman?
Oh man.
And we put a framework around it. We gather our partners in the community who are going to help us make sure that those youth have spaces and places that are still connected to Goodman. So they're also getting the support from whomever they're working for or working with. I think about what's, all of the workforce development planning that's happening right now in Madison. Oh, you all better watch out, because we building these youth over here to be a part of that's coming. So you wondering, and they probably not thinking about where they're coming from. I'm telling you that they're coming, a lot of them are going to come from Goodman, because we would have taken them through all of the process to get them ready to be able to receive what's happening out there. that me and Danny were talking the other day, and I said, you know what, Danny? The proving ground for all of our youth too.
Yeah.
And they're going to be able to participate and benefit for what's being built out there for them.
Yeah.
And we're getting them ready for that.
And that's the community readiness that you're talking about,
Yes.
Letesha, because when we're talking about empowering our youth and doing that, the very first step for them to have that community readiness is a lot of what we're doing is for them to know that their community also values them, that they are a valuable member of our community, and the talents that they have and things that they want to do are going to be valuable back to the community in that way. You know, it's like,
true.
You can't really see yourself as a role model right away until we show you what you're doing, until we show you how amazing you are and you're doing that. So, I want to see that as a billboard, like, get ready, like.
Yeah, get ready because they're coming. You know,
Yeah.
You're going to see our youth, you know, our college readiness. We have a program within college readiness called PRL. And they do everything around college. They take these students and they mold them and put them through this rigorous training program to be able to go to the college of their choice on a full ride. So that's our college readiness. Our career readiness happens through our Teamworks program, where they get to dabble in different places to learn different jobs and kind of figure out what skills are going to work for them and what kind of jobs they want to have. But then if we, you know, the community readiness, as I said, is all about them understanding how the community has served them and how they're then going to give back to the community at some point. And that comes through our social emotional learning, basic skills that we teach them about community. I remember them telling a story not too long ago about how they took some youth on a trip to the Capitol or somewhere around the Capitol, where they were able to go into a specific spot. And one of the youth asked the adult that was with them, "We can go in there?" And the youth said so the staff member said to them, "Yeah, you can go in there." Like, that's a spot that you live here. This is for you. Yeah. And so having them understand that the things in the community, if they take care of them and they honor them and they're committed to making sure that they want to treat those places and spaces good, that they have every right to benefit from everything that is here. So I hear about the workforce development. In my mind, I'm saying, yep, I'm building some kids for you. Goodman is building some kids for you. You know, our youth team is building youth and young adults for you. We're building it so that they will have a place to then benefit within their community at some point. So I'm like you, that this is a place where I just get all, you know, and full, and my head is hot right now. You see, I don't got no hair right now.
I wish there was a better word but I just get so hyped up talking about this because, you know, like, college and career readiness is so close to like my heart and like what I do. And it's that first step. Like, everybody thinks like college readiness is like, let's talk to them about majors. I'm like, no. My first goal is, I mean, you know me, like, let me talk to anybody as young, but the first goal is to know, you want to go to college? You can do it. Yes. You want to have this career? You want to do it. You want to be the governor of this building? You want to be like leading this? You are welcome in here. Yes. And you can do all of that. And it's that sense of awareness and that empowerment that Goodman's doing. I just keep coming back to empowerment and spending time with our youth. I was talking to one of the youth actually who has that scholarship that you were mentioning. And I was just like, oh my gosh, you can do anything. Like, I'm so excited. Like, you have sophomore, plenty of time to choose, like plenty of college tours ahead of them and a lot of exploration, but it's all ahead and it's so exciting, and their commitment to like leading up to all of that. Like, our youth are doing such amazing things. Like,
they really are. And I am honored to be here with them and the staff that continues to help and support them. I would not have it any other way. A year later, I would not have it any other way. I know that there's a lot of work for me to do, And I know that I have the right people on my team, and I continue to make really good partnerships and relationships within the community that can help us. And I'm just excited for what is to come. I am. The one last thing that I did want to say is,
yes,
I want to just give a shout out to our development team. We are going to be launching a campaign called Be the Good. And Be the Good has been in my heart for a lot of years. And how amazing is it that I come here and it just fits. And the team that's actually pulling all the pieces together to launch this campaign are amazing, because they took what I said and what was in my heart, and they created, oh my God, I just can't even say all of what this is going to be. But it is not just a chance for you to hear about the good that is going on in Goodman. It is a campaign to highlight the good that is going on in the community of Madison. There are a lot of people here doing good things, and I am in awe every day at all of the things that are going on in little old Madison, you know, or big old Madison, whichever way, whatever your perspective is. But if you want to know more about the campaign, please go to our website at www.goodman.com. .org, I'm sorry, / get involved / be the good.
And it's dropped into the chat too.
And it is in the chat.
Yes.
All we want you to do is share your story with us about something good going on. Who's doing the good? It could be a youth, it could be a grandma, it could be a community, another community center, or somebody in the school system. It could be the person who is the janitor in your building. Like, tell us about the community of Madison and all the good that is going on right here and the people that are doing it. We would love to hear that. More to come on that.
Definitely.
You'll see more about Be the Good as we go forward, but I'm excited. And then that actually is a good way for us to end this conversation.
I was gonna say, I hate to end an hour with you. I could, like I said, if we had
do
our
more
way,
good, be more good.
it'd be 3 hours on here, and Amy would be like, oh, yeah, like you all too much. But so one last thing that you'd like, first of all, thank you to everyone who tuned in for tonight. Thank you for spending a little bit of your Tuesday night with us. You know, we all want to help our community. Letesha, just to wrap this up, what are some things we can do, and what do you want people to take away from this talk?
I just want you to know that while we have so many things to do, we need you. And you can share your thoughts, your feelings, ideas with us. We want to hear those. Know that the youth are in good hands, as well as our older adults, and our staff are here to help and to help you feel like you belong to Goodman. And I would say the last thing would be to do more good and be more good. Like, that's all we can take away these days. So just do more good and be more good.
Thank you so much for that. What a beautiful way to spend this Tuesday. Yeah. Thank you all again for spending it with us. Not gonna lie, Letesha, I don't know how to, like, do we just
all you do is say, okay,
end?
Everybody, good night. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Dulce.